Welcome to another edition of Conversations with the Artists with yours truly, DJ Time. This is the show where we talk to your favorite artists. We find out more about them personally, their journey, their music, their songs, their touring, and of course, we check out their top 10 songs from their catalog. This week, we are heading to Bridgetown, Barbados for this guy called Mr. Anderson Armstrong, affectionately known as Mr. Blood. He has been in this industry for a very long time, from the young age of 17, and he will share his story with us. And of course, when we talk about Mr. Blood, we have to talk about Square One as well. And he joins us in the conversation. Mr. Blood, sir, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you for having me here on the show, man.
It's,
It's really nice to be here.
it's great to have you right here on Conversations with the Artists.
Yeah, man.
Now, for those watching, who is Mr. Blood?
Well, Mr. Blood, Mr. Anderson Armstrong. I started way back when I was in primary school. You know, I always had a love for music. Actually, I would say my earliest recollection of being around music would be when I was in even nursery school. There was a choir at the nursery school, and they gave me these two little things. I call them clack clacks, but you know, you used to beat them while the others were singing, and I wasn't singing at the time, but I was beating the clack clack. You know, from there into primary school, I was always active. I remember actually when in primary school they usually teach you how to play. They start with the recorder, and I can remember like having being given the recorder to play. I think it was "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Let Nothing," and I looked at the piece of music like if I knew what music was, and I played the thing. I mean, I'm not gonna say flawlessly, but you know, I played it so well that I was asked if um, I studied music before, so I guess you know from then I had it in me. I then also, I mean, as a lot of people would know, I love acting, and I remember at primary school I did a little skit, and I was the baker man in it, and even from back then, my grandmother was making my costumes um, for me for my little skits and little performances and whatnot. So while in primary school, you know, I did those things, and then I was in the church choir. So from primary school going into law school, you know, I I joined the church choir. I used to go to church with my grandmother at 6:30 a.m. And then while my cousin Ray Armstrong and we were getting ready for confirmation, um, we also joined the 9 o'clock church choir, and I was in that for a little bit. Yeah, I was in church choir for a little bit. St. Barnabas Church, big up St. Barnabas, Buzzy, you know. And then, of course, during my years at law school, by the second year when Mr. Fingal came and the concert started, you know, I started getting heavily involved in the concert. So that's where my foundation is at the Lodge School. Um, gotta make sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I started getting involved in the concerts. I would do like Michael Jackson imitations. You know, I would sing. I remember my first duet was one by Roberta Flack and Peebo Bryson. Tonight I celebrate my love for you, me and one of
That's
the
a
girls at
classic.
school. Yeah, classic. And me and one of the girls, we did that at school. Then I can very well remember my Michael Jackson "Beat It," you know, coming from the back of the audience through the hall up to the stage and doing the performance. Then and calypso started for me at the law school as well, where there was a competition, and there were three guys in the competition. It was Biggie Irie. No, sorry, not Biggie. Biggie was not into soca at all. He was into reggae, and he and Halsmar, they were in the school band at that time. Um, the guy is Mouty, a guy by the name of Mouty, and another fella by the name of Darwin. And the three of us, we were in this competition, and I came third. because because the guys had these songs that were quite popular. I mean, I wrote, in fact, one of the songs that I wrote for that competition. It was called um, Calypso Calypso Fever or something like that, or right, well, whatever. I know. I remember years later turning that song into Calypso Christmas. So that song, although it didn't win the competition, eventually came out, and the public now knows it as Calypso Christmas.
Wow, what a journey! What a
Oh
journey!
yeah.
You moved into soca. You
Mm,
became the youngest person to go into the national calypso competition.
yes, that is
Talk
correct.
to me about how did you get there?
Well, correct. Well, after the Calypso competition at the Lord School again, um, George Jones, who is the keyboardist in Square One, and we'll get to Square One a little bit later. Um, we were very close classmates, and at that time, Conquerors Calypso Tank had just started. George was from Church Village, where the tank basically was based. And we started, and we were very much into the music. We kept hearing it on the radio and that kind of stuff, and there were some very very popular songs coming out of the Conquerors Calypso time that year. Anyhow, so we decided we were going to write this song, and the song went something like this. It was obviously Kaiso based song, and it was a fly and a cockroach wanted to see which of the two of them was a hard seed, so they entered the dancing competition to see which of them was the hardest one. The fly he came out looking rather cute, dressed a kill in a three-piece suit. Next came the music getting rather loud. They both receive a warm welcome from the crowd. And I ain't get no further in the song at all, at all, at all. And we ain't get no further in that song at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. Anyhow, so with our interest in the calypso competition, and then even started doing our own rehearsing at school and starting our own little band with Mexican and whatnot. um, the year was 1982 when I was actually lying in my bed and the Calypso finals was on. And when I heard the count one, two, one, two, three, four, pa-dum, 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 pum, pim, pum, pum, and Gabby came on stage, the energy that was coming out of the radio from that I mean, it captivated me, and I said, wow, I want to do this next year. And I made the decision then. And as shy as I was, because I was a very very shy guy, I used to watch my shoes when I walked from, because I lived in Pine Plantation Road, and I used to get off the bus in my Lord Sill. So I would walk all through the Ivy, cross Government Hill, through the back by Charles F. Broom, and go down the hill to where I live. And all I used to see was my feet. And when I made that decision, I remember there was a Clapham Day being held, and I went to the event. And as soon as I got to Clapham Day, I was walking in and up the gap, and coming down the gap was the mighty Gabby. And I said, nah, this shyness can't work today. And I approached the mighty Gabby right there and then. And when I approached him, he said, well, you know what? You got good timing, because I'm starting something called First Timers Calypso Time, and you can come by me, and we'll have a little audition, and we'll go through these songs. Do you have any songs? I said yes. And I went by the mighty Gabby. Um, it was out uh, by Kensington. His house was out there by Kensington at the time. And when I entered, I was in awe, because right there in Gabby's house, on the living room floor was guys like Romeo and Mark Lord, all the big names right there and then, and I had to do my thing. So I sang the two songs, to Gabby, and he then gave me a few pointers and helped me restructure them, etc., and put them on a cassette tape, and that's where my start began. Um, we When he gave me the tape, I took the tape home, right? Because you're gonna get to this question and let you answer it now, right? um, when I when I took the tape home, right, to listen to it, to practice what we had done, and I took the tape out, I saw a name on the tape. The tape was marked Young Blood, and I said, "Oh no, he gave me the wrong cassette, right?" But the cassette, the color and everything looked like mine. So then I remembered that when he took my cassette out, he wrote something on it. Not remembering my name, he wrote Young Blood, as in, as a young blood, right? So I said, cool. I keep in this. Yeah. So, and that is how I got my name, Young Blood.
Well done. Wow. Gabby did it for you. I like
Gabby
it.
did it. Oh, yes, Gabby did it for me. That is
Very
correct.
interesting.
And I entered his first timers tent, which was the format was similar to like Teen Talent, where you had preliminaries every weekend. So
Okay.
when I entered, I won my preliminary, and I made it all the way to the final of that, and I came, I think I came about fifth or something like that. A guy won, and I don't remember the name of the guy that won that competition, but Punka was in that same very competition that year as well, and he ended up judging in Gabby's big battle drum calypso thing and making it all the way to the finals that year with tuck band rhythm and ballroom dancing. But that was a very interesting year for me. And after that, that year ended, I was at law school the following year, and I was wondering, um, which would be now 1984, because I started with Gabby in 1983. And after Gabby, I entered the Teen Talent competition, and I also made it to the finals there. In fact, I was one of the first to do an original that year, and Um, I won my preliminary, and in that preliminary was a guy by the name of Brian Carter. I'm not sure if you know of him, but excellent voice, great singer, and Teeth and Terencia Coward. They were in my preliminary, and
Wow.
Terencia, yes, I believe Terencia came second, and Brian came third. But he was so good that they then sent him through to the semifinals as well. And we all basically ended up TC, myself, Brian. That was the year that Edwin won um, in 1984. But in 1980, that was in, sorry, 1983. So then the following year, 1984, I was at school, and I was wondering, what am I going to do? Am I going to get back into Gabby's first timers? Is he doing it again? And I remembered, well, you know what? Gosh, Mr. Matt Fingall, he is the manager of the Untouchables. Let me approach him and see what he thinks, and I approached Mr. Matt Fingall, and he said, "Well, you know what? All right, let's meet." So George and I, we took a trip to Mr. Fingall's house all the way in Bayfield. Now, mind you, I'm young and I live all the way in town in the Pine, right? And we went to Matt Fingall's house. Red plastic bag was there. We discussed the topics and whatnot, and we ran through a few ideas. And between Mr. Fingall's house and reaching home in the Pine, and mind you, young at that time, right? So it late, it dark. But I ain't getting a stick from my, and I lived with my grandmother at the time. And all my grandmother used to tell me is that I can soon move to St. Philip. That is what she said, oh, you can soon move to St.
Wow.
Philip or St. John. And that is where I live right now, actually. She kind of spoke it into being, because almost everything, the school was up there. I was always at rehearsals in St. Philip or something. So between Fingal and home is when I wrote my first big hit, which was Sports Billy. And when I got home and I had the ideas done, I called him back and I said, I have it, I have it, I have it. This is the song. And I sang it to him. And he actually wrote my, well, not that year. I'm jumping ahead of myself now. I wrote Sports
Lot of
Billy, and
information.
yeah, a lot of information. And another song I had that year called Freedom. And I wrote those two songs, and I performed in the tent. And on opening night of Untouchables 1984, they put me on first, and the impact of this song was so tremendous. The people called for more, and then they called for more again. And at that time, I had no idea. I mean, opening night, I had no idea about new verse or anything, So I just went back on and I sang the same stuff. But at intermission that night, El Ponzi, who was the guy that usually used to go on first, he came on after me because obviously young, you don't know what to expect if I'm going to mess up, how I'm going to handle myself. But I think I was born for the stage, and it went not extremely well. I did my encore, and at intermission, El Ponzi looked at Mr. Finger and he said, and he pointed at me and said, "You see that young fella there? You see that boy there? Don't put him on before me ever again. Don't put him on before me ever again." So they started putting me on like number five, number six throughout the season. And I got encores every night, 3 and 4 encores. And that's when
Wow.
I started then coming up with new verses and whatnot.
Fantastic. I wish we had the amount of time that it really needs to go into every single year of your career.
Oh man, I'm telling you, yeah, every year is something special.
Let's jump forward to where did Square One start? How did that happen? Where did that
Okay,
start?
but yeah, that started. I mean, I was like, well, with the 10th, I was no solo artist. By then, I've left school, and the bands had parted ways. Basically, the school band where it was myself, George, Mexican mainly, and another guy. We used to call him Grover. Anyway, I was now a solo artist kind of star, and I was in New York, and that would be in 1986 or so. I was in New York, and George messaged me, and he said that Country Theater Workshop. No, he lived in Church Village, and Country Theater Workshop was based in Church Village. When George left school, George was playing the bass in the band, and I was playing the keyboard. And when we left school, well, no music, well, outside of me being, a solo artist was happening. So George picked up the keyboard and started to practice, and he was playing Congo drums for behind the dancers for Country Theater Workshop. At that time, I think his girlfriend at that time was also in the group. So George called and he said, well, the manager of the group is putting on this extravaganza at around Christmas time, and what they want is a band to play music in between the dances because they would then put on what there is kind of like a showcase. They would put on this show, do dances. They would invite hoteliers and people who hire the group and whatnot. So he called me and he said, "Well, we want to put this band together. Do I know any guys?" I said, "Well, I'll look around." And at that time, it was in Teen Talent. And one day, while at Teen Talent, Paul, who entered Teen Talent as a singer, was a bass player. And while the band was on break, he took up the bass and started to play. I said, "Yo, you sound good." Yeah, he asked if he interested in joining the band. I asked Paul. And around the corner, I saw Cesar Riley. Cesar Riley went to primary school with me. And, he was singing Philip Bailey, Irving Fire type stuff and sounding good. So I asked Cesar Riley, and the guy said, "Man, yeah, of course, we interested." And we got together. It was myself, George, Paul, and Oshaka, and Cecil Riley. And at the beginning, we did not have a drummer, and we asked the guy who used to play the drums at school with us if he was interested. And he came to 1 or 2 rehearsals, and then one night, I think he couldn't make it, and George asked Winston Beckles, who lived in Church Village as well, but Winston was already playing with another band, a rock band. Anyway, the evening Winston came and he sat down and started to rehearse and whatnot, the vibes and stuff between all of us. Winston never got back up off of those drums, so he stuck with us. From then, he resigned from the other band, came with well, we didn't have a name as yet, and that is how Square One started, in a little house in Church Village in St. Philip. And we played for that concert. And a couple of months later, um, I think, yeah, we brought Allison in. And the whole Square One name, let me get to that. No, the name Square One came about when, after rehearsing, because we rehearsed with this concert, rehearse and whatnot. And after a while, we were all talking the same talk, wanting the same thing, dreaming the same dream. And we decided, you know what? Let's go for this. Let's go for this. Let's be a band, right? Not just do this for the concert. What name are we going to come up with? I said, well, let's all think about it. And we started throwing names out there, throwing names, and none of the names that we threw out we liked. And again, Mr. Fingal comes to the rescue because I went home, gave Mr. Fingal a call, and he says, well, it seems like you're all ended up at square one. Why you don't call it back square one? It's over here. I kind of like that. And then I checked with the guys. All the men like square one as well. So and there you go. That is how the square one, the band and the name came about.
Wow,
Two great men
fantastic.
giving us names. Yeah.
There you go. You started with the Mighty Gabby with Youngblood and Matt
Yes.
Fingal wrapped it all up with Square One.
That is
Fantastic.
correct. That is correct.
If you're now joining us, welcome to Conversations with the Artists. This week, Bridgetown, Barbados, we are talking to the man, Mr. Blood, Mr. Anderson Armstrong. Of course, you know him from Square One. You know him as a solo artist. You also know him from being in the band of Soca Cartel. Mr. Blood, sir, thank you for being with us.
No
Let's
problem at all. It's a pleasure.
let's get into some music.
Yeah, music. Hmm.
Plumber, the
Plumber.
song Plumber, also known as Turn It Around.
Yes.
Where did that come from? Why did you put this song out or write this song?
Okay. We when Terry had worked on some music, a rhythm, and on this rhythm there was a song. Allison had a song on it, and then he gave me the rhythm and gave Oshaki the rhythm and said, you know what, write some songs on this rhythm. Write a song on this rhythm. So Cecil wrote a song on it, and I I started to work on something, and nothing was coming until one morning I was on my way to number one record shop. And as I got by the stoplights at Independence Square, right where the stoplights by the terminal, by Fairchild Street bus
Fairchild
terminal,
Street Bus Terminal, yeah.
right, walking up towards number one record shop. The song hit me. I mean, the song just hit me because um, something happened that jarred paper advertisements. Yeah, and I don't know what it was, but it just hit me. I answered this ad in the newspaper. This woman, she's looking for a plumber. You know, I went for a job. I wanted to work. She wanted to fight move, so I took a look. And by the time I got to the door of the store and I pushed it, Valerie, the manager, she was there. I said, Val, I got a song, girl. I got a song. This song sweet, yeah. And I started singing, and like everybody was really in tune with this little ditty that I wrote. So when I took it back to Mexican, now Mexican said, boy, you know what? This is what to do. Let me start fresh. Don't sit down on this rhythm. Let me go fresh. Go by Nicholas and put down this song. Yeah. So we went by Nicholas Branca and I started the song. Paul played bass on it. Did Paul play bass on it? I know I played guitar. But Nicholas produced the song, and Plumber came out. And mind you, at that time I still had kind of like um self confidence. I really was not in love with my voice as yet. I didn't like to hear me, you know. I would sing, I would perform or whatnot, but I never wanted to listen back at any of the performances. I never wanted to hear the recordings. And Plumber came out, and I was home one day, and I got this phone call. You boy, turn on the radio, boy. I said, what happened? Oh, you Plumber got it played mash up. He's talking about. So when I turned on the radio, I turned it on, and Cindy Rose was on at the time. And
Wow.
Cindy was playing the song, and then she played back again, and the song must have played for about nearly a half an hour, and I couldn't believe it. And I start and I listened to it, you know. I said, "Yo, this is sound bad," you know. So I then started to take note of myself, listen to what I was doing, that kind of stuff. And Plumber is not one of my best vocals ever because at that time we were still doing some work, we were touring and whatnot, and it just so happened that for about 2 or 3 years straight, each time I had to record, it was right after a hectic tour. So the voice was always basically under a little bit of stress. Anyhow, Plumber came out and it did extremely well that year. In fact, the song then went to New York and was number one on WLAB for several weeks. And then all over the world, the song started to do really, really well. So that was a great beginning. And then it went to Miami Carnival, and from Miami Carnival to Trinidad Carnival, where I made it to the Soca Monarch finals then with Plummer, and did very, very, very well.
Well, let's take a listen. Turn it around, also known as the plumber.
Plummer.
Who is it?
It's the plumber.
It's the
I've come
plumber.
to fix the sink.
Answer this ad in the newspaper. This woman, she looking for a plumber. Boy, I went for the job. I wanted a walk. She want a bike move, so I took a look. Boy, she want me pull it on and turn it around. 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 And turn it around and push it back in. 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 Boy, the water running. Boy, the water running. Boy, the water running. Boy, the water running. Boy,
You're not gonna ask, was there any backlash with this song? You know I am going to ask the question.
Of course, of course, of course. It was in fact a lot. So many kids at the time, got lashes for singing this song because I mean, as simple and as innocent as the lyrics are, face value, because adults obviously think and have let's say an advanced way of thinking. Um, the double entendre and the let's call it sexual connotations of the song obviously made it a little bit difficult for people to digest, let's say, or have their younger children digest. But I mean, if you look at the face value of the song, it's about a man who went to look for a job, a plumber, and basically that is it. I'm telling you.
And look at his face. You are also known for the strand of hair at the
Yes,
back.
the big
Let's
deals. That's right.
the pigtail.
Mhm.
Discuss that style. How did that come about?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. I believe after, cause I had Jerry curls for a while, and after I decided to cut the Jerry curls, I think I went with a it may have been the Bobby Brown slant or just a flat top. You know when you had the flat top, right?
Yes.
Right. Anyway, but I did know that at some point I had the Bobby Brown thing. So when I cut the all the hair off, I decided I was just gonna leave this thing back there because it was a case of wearing normal hair and doing something different or doing what everybody else was doing, which was like, the fellas, most of the guys were into locks, right? And I said, I know we're real true rasta, so I ain't going with the locks. Um, let me get my one lock and do something different. Nobody else wasn't really doing it. In fact, the only other
You're
person,
one lock. You're
my
one
one lock.
lock.
Yeah, but then my one lock turned in because I let it grow. It turned into 6 and 7 because then I started plaiting them in. So I was adding beads onto them, and they were really, really long. I remember because the reason why I actually started to let it grow thicker is because one time with the one that I had, I put the beads on it. It was really thin, and while I was at the airport going, I was checking in or something like that, and obviously it got longer, and as it got longer, and thinner. It got weaker in the middle. So the thing broke, man. In the middle, it broke halfway, and the bees fell, and it was quite embarrassed. So I decided, let me put some more thickness into this. So I started doing that, and yeah, it became my signature thing.
Yes, you were known for that. I'm telling you. Pussycat,
Mm.
another song, and
Mhm.
I guess there was also some backlash for this song as
This one was
well.
worse. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is exactly what happened, right? After the success of Plumber, which by the way is also called Hold It Down, right? Um, I decided to no, sorry, Plumber is Turn It
Turn it
Around,
around.
right?
And this one is Hold It Down.
Hold It Down, right? Now the reason I decided to call it Hold It Down, the success of Plumber in Trinidad was tremendous. And I said, you know what? Okay, let's go for uh, another big hit in Trinidad and use something that they say or do, right? And while I was what was there, I kept hearing a lot of people say, "Man, hold it down, now hold it down, hold it down," right? So I kept that in the back of my mind to use hold it down. And but my intention was not to write another plumber. It was just to write, a song because I don't like repeating things. You know how some people they have a hit and after that first hit they say, well, if I had a hit like that, let me do this again and let me do this again. I keep doing it and they rinse it out and they rinse it out and they rinse it out till it's not no longer working. Me, I just like doing things differently all the time. If this year I had a slow song, next year let me try something fast or something like that or different topic or different angle or that kind of stuff. Anyhow, in the same Independence Square one morning, I was standing up by the hot dog lady about to buy a hot dog. And there was another girl standing there. She had BWIA's office there at the time. And she was standing there. And while we were there, this cat just ran from nowhere. Woof! And both of them jumped, and I looked down and saw the cat running. And right from the top of my head, the song came. Somebody keep the cat, get away, and it caused it up straight. And they went down the road, and they hold it down, and everything came. I mean, everything happened right there by this hot dog cat. I mean, like
Wow.
magic. I know what I did. I do the same thing I did. I run straight, gone in number one record shop. I tell Valerie, go another song. I got another song, girl. It just happened out there. And that too became a huge hit. I remember um, I did the song and we did two versions. We did the Pussycat version and we did the Kitty Cat version because the management of Square One felt that the radio stations may not have played the Pussycat version. So let me tone it down and say Kitty Cat. Anyhow, so we put Kitty Cat on the Square One album, and I had my own album called Conscience Call. I put the Pussycat version on it. Anyhow, the Square One version kind of got popular really quickly because Square One was on the road all the time and becoming very very popular, and already had some hits and was making ground. But I was in New York, and before we get to New York though, during the whole of that crop over, um, Fingal had to. If Fingal even wanted to take the song from me and sing it because I would not perform the song at all. At all. He told them, boy, you don't perform the song. Boy, you don't perform this song. Right? Anyhow,
Wow.
I don't think I did the song more than once, even in the tent. Right? But then Crossover was done and we went to New York because we all used to go to New York, do shows, vacation, all kind of stuff. I was in New York and I was with a friend and she took me to a little house party in an apartment. And I was sitting there. Nobody really knew who I was yet. But the people started talking, and there were a whole bunch of Trinidadians. I said, boy, they got song there, boy. Square One got a song on the album, boy. That too bad, bad, bad. I can't remember the name of the song right now. About number 10 or 13 on the album. Anyway, can talk about my song. I said, you mean the song there, Kitty Cat? The man said, yes, boy, that is the song. That tune gonna be big, boy. That tune gonna be big, right? And the man said, the tune gonna be big. I said, well, thanks, Marco. That's my song. He said, well, you the Kitty Cat man. And everybody from then was calling me the Kitty Cat man. They know they can't remember Anderson Armstrong, Blood, nothing. The Kitty Cat man. And yeah, the tune from there. I mean, from the time that guy told me that, it seems like everything just started to mushroom, and the song then started to play on WLIB and do extremely well. Of course, again down to Miami Carnival and into Trinidad. And what we did for Trinidad for Hold It Down for Kitty Cat was I printed a poster with my image on it, and I put the lyrics on the poster, hundreds of them, thousands of them, and we took the recording of Kitty Cat and sent it down to Trinidad in the south where the pirates were rampant, and we gave the song to the pirates, yeah, with the flyer. So that when they pirated, whenever they made every cassette that was made that a pirate made in Trinidad for that year, Kitty Cat was on it. And the song obviously became huge, extremely huge. And yeah. And that is how Kitty Cat became really, really, really big.
Let's take a listen, Mr. Blood.
Yeah, kitty, 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 kitty. Where is that cat? Anyway. Oh. Get the cat, get the cat. Yeah. Get the cat, get the cat. Get the cat, get the cat. Get the cat. Somebody pussy cat, get away and it causing havoc. Somebody pussy cat, get away and it running amok. Somebody pussy cat, get away and it behaving bad. Somebody pussy cat, get away and it driving them mad. They want me to hold it down. When you get the cat, you must hold it down. Get the cat. They tell me hold it down. When you get the cat, you must hold it down. Get the cat. Hold it down. When you get the cat, you must hold it down. Get the cat. Hold it down. When you get the cat, you must hold it down. Get the cat. Now attack it from the front. They tell me attack it from the back. Attack it from the front. They tell me attack it from the back. Again, attack it from the front. They tell me attack it from the back. Attack it from the front. They tell me attack it from the back.
Mr. Blood Anderson Armstrong with a big song, Pussycat, also known as Kitty Cat, and Turn It Around. So 3 different names this song has. It's amazing.
No. Two. Turn it around is plumber.
Right. There you go. Yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
2 different names.
Yeah. Hold it down. Yeah. I used to do that. I used to have.
But that's still 3, Blood.
name.
You have Pussycat, Kitty Cat, Hold It Down. That's 3 names.
Oh yeah, it's true. And hold it down. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I apologize, sir.
What's your most memorable moment in being in the band Square One?
Wow. Whenever anybody asks me that, the weirdest moment of all comes to mind. We weren't big, huge yet. We were touring in the early 90s, and we went to Martinique, and it was the first time we had ever decided we were going to take someone who was a pyrotechnics expert and that kind of stuff. So we had the show to do, and the guy asked me, well, what's your last song? I said, well, our last song is going to be Jump. We had a song by the name of Jump at the time. And it's going to start like this. It's coming out of this song, blah, blah, blah. He said, okay. Now, when the song starts, you're going to hear a huge explosion. I'm warning you because it's extremely loud. Anyhow, so we were performing, things going on really, really well. And we start the final song. And when the song started, we all heard this boom. I turned to run off the stage. I saw this black blur past me. Allison passed me hard, hard, hard. When I looked, the drummer off the drums, George gone. The only thing left playing was the drum machine, ticking, 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 ticking. And then I stopped, before you actually get off the stage, you stop off of it. Oh gosh, there's the explosion, But we all came back on, right? Luckily, the percussion was still going, and then the guys realized what had happened, and we all came back, and the crowd was doing a number because they thought it was a part of the show, not knowing that we were scared of the word. The thing was real loud. Yeah, the first time ever.
Wow.
Oh man.
That sounds like real fun. I could just
It was. It
imagine.
was. We've
I could
had
just
so much
imagine
fun.
seeing that.
Yeah, we've had so much fun over the years touring with, so many different things have happened, so many fantastic, great experiences as well. We played for kings and queens. We played with the king and queen of Sweden. We did, I mean, we did something called the Swedish Water Festival as well, which was like that. No, that was something else because that was pulling up the rear of a tour that we had done of Europe with Gabby and Griner. And each show we did, it just got better and better and better. And just before leaving that part of Europe to go to London, Swedish Water Festival was the final show. And when we performed that night and we were finished, the crowds would not, because when the police say you gotta stop, you gotta stop. And let's say the show was finish at 8, and at 8 o'clock we shut off, and the people out there singing and would not leave. And the promoter said, "Well, we really can't go back on," but the police said we have to because they had never seen or heard a crowd behave like that before,
Wow.
right? To and people just wouldn't move, and we had to go back on, do an encore, and play and satisfy them, and then the people dispersed. But yeah, we had some fantastic times, man.
To this day, the band is still very close knit,
Oh
and
yes.
from time to time, you guys get together and you do events, you do parties, shows, whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What do you think is the magic that has kept you guys together for so long? And even now that the band is not officially a band, you can still get together, still perform,
Easily.
and yeah, easily.
Easily, because we spent most of our teenage years, and going into the 20s together. I mean, when I tell you together, like a family together, we practicing, rehearsal was our job in the first place. So we saw each other almost every single day for at least 8 hours a day, right? We went to the band house, we rehearsed, we talked, we had lunch together, we rehearsed, we talked, when we leave, sometimes we go and hang out at bars and that kind of stuff together. So we were always together, and we just learned each other, and we always spoke about loyalty, because people from other entities would often come and say, "Man, I want you to come. Man, leave them and come here," or that kind of stuff. Sometimes people try to break up the band for whatever reason, right? Or because they saw a particular talent that they wanted, they would come and say, "Well, man, come, I could do this for you, I could do this for you." But we believed in loyalty and sticking together. That's why, I mean, from beginning till now, we have all of the same members. The only addition, and not
Right.
change, but addition to the band is Mexican. After we were together for 5 years, he came back from off of his cruise liner, and it was like reuniting the school band, because George, myself, and Terry were in the school band together. So I mean, that synergy has always been good, and we've always been able to try to solve our differences, whatever differences we may have. And once we hit the stage, once the music got to play, it's professionalism right down the line.
I was just gonna say, I've never heard even if there was infighting or problems, you never heard any of that coming out of the band.
No,
You
we
always,
never put our problems on the street. Not at all, at all, at all, at all. You know, and I mean, like as with any family, as and any group, you have problems. Things can arise and things can occur, and we would have had, you know, I wouldn't say a lot, but we would have had times when we had difficult decisions to make and that kind of stuff. But you know, the main aim and the main goal of the group always was to keep the group together and play and make good music and tour the world and represent Barbados.
the song Turn It Up. Share that story.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Ah, yes, that is an interesting story as well. No, that you should ask. I had gotten myself some equipment because from early in the early 90s, mid 90s, when we started working with Eddie Grant and then also with Kenny Phillips out of Trinidad, I really got a bug for the studio thing. And I had promised that I would get myself a computer and I would start, you know, learning and start producing. And I got some equipment, and the band had gone on we had gone on a cruise liner to do a gig. Yeah, it was a week cruise with Sony Ericsson, I believe it was. They had gotten all of their staff from all over the world and taken them on and treated them on this trip. And in our contract, we had stipulated that we would not be treated as staff. We would be treated as guests, and you know, we would have full run of the ship. Anyhow, one day I had taken my equipment with me, and one day while the guys they went to this beautiful little place, and I could look out my cabin window and I see the guys out on the beach, you know, and I was in the cabin messing around with the equipment and learning it, and I started to build a rhythm. I started to write this song, and I kind of left it. So when we got back from that trip, I had the equipment set up on my living room, couch, yeah, and I was working on it one day. So obviously working on the music and singing and that kind of stuff, you know, I kind of got frustrated with the song. I am not sure why, or I probably wasn't sure where he was going to go with it, but I left it, and I think it was either the same day or the next day. My little son was walking through the house, and I heard him singing, "Turn it up, turn it up, turn it." I said, "What?" And it came right back to me saying, you know, Gabby said so. Gabby said that if you sing a melody or some words to a child and you can hear them repeat it within hours or the next day, you know that you got a hit. And I quickly went and turned back on all the equipment and I finished that song. You know, I made sure that everything was good. I finished writing the song, everything. I said, okay, cool. Nah, don't give up on this song. And yeah, that was like one of my first major productions because I had done all the music and everything to it right here. In fact, that song was recorded with a $10 microphone, a cheap microphone. And I took the laptop with me to Miami, and while we were doing Miami Carnival, and Andrew Denny was there. So I told him about this song. Andrew said, "Man, give me the computer, give me the laptop." So Andrew took the laptop to his room, you know, and he set up a nice little mix of it and everything, and he gave it back to me, right? So all I had to do really and truly was to bounce that mix out. And so I listened to it and I said, yeah, this sounds good. And I bounced the mix out, and that was and that's history for the song. In fact, I remember going to Boston to perform with the band, and the guy said, "Man, I love this song. I just use this song to sound check my system each and every time because it was really and truly bottom heavy. It was really, really big." And that song did very, very well for me for that time. I think one of the bigger hits off of the album that we had that year for Square One, actually.
Let's take a listen. Turn it up.
Turn it up, 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 turn it it up, turn it up, turn it
love coming on from Mr. Blood, Mr. Anderson
Bank
Armstrong.
Connect.
You've, like you said, you started to mess around with instruments. Well, I should say, into the
Production,
producing
yeah.
aspect. Yeah.
Yes.
You moved into having a full production studio. You have your own record label as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
How was that like? What was that like going into that space?
Well, oh yeah, man, that space. I didn't even think that I would enjoy it and love it as much, when I was thinking about it. But when I started to do it, and I mean officially do it, because I produced my first album, but a lot of these songs weren't produced by me.
Okay.
In 1998.
Mhm.
But then by 2003, 2004, after I had done Turn It Up and Whatnot, um, I started to get really serious about the production. Um, I did an album called Bootleg. At that time, everybody was crying out about the pirates and how the pirates were bootlegging the CDs and that kind of stuff. So I said, you know what? Okay, cool. If they're selling bootleg CDs, let me sell bootleg CD too. So I recorded the artist, and I named the album Bootleg. It had on Mikey. That was Mikey's debut. And it had on Contone as well. Contone's debut, and a whole set of other people. But that album did so well, and the joy that I got from being able to take a song from 0 to 100, even before it hit the radio station, the magic I felt, and the happiness I feel when I do that, it brings so much joy, man. And then, the real the icing on the cake is when you put the music out and people lap it up. That album, Bootleg, got so much licks from like I won't even say the DJs, because the DJs ended up playing them. But the critics, I would say, the music critic, because obviously I did the mixing on that album, yeah, and I put the music out. No, I didn't really know a lot about mixing. I could produce the music, yeah, and the music came out good, but because of lack of funding and that kind of stuff, I did the mixing, and not knowing any better, I thought, hey, these things sound great, and the people around me listening, liking the vibes as well, and if the people liking the vibes, the people liking the vibes, and I put that album out, and to date, it is possibly one of the best, if not the best selling album that we had released, because I mean
Wow.
it didn't win Road March, Mikey. In fact, yes, it did win Road March. Mikey won the Road March.
Yeah, we
Conto
come
was
together.
extremely popular with I Like Drinking Rum, and then Mikey also came second in the Party Monarch, and those were the days when once you did that well in any of the competitions, is like it worked for you, boy. You can get work, you get tours and that kind of stuff, and the people used to buy the CDs. So um, the CD was out, and after Kadooment Day, and winning the Road March, even more CDs started to sell, and it was a good. That was a fantastic year. And then I had support from Courts at the time as well, who had sponsored the album. So um, yeah, we had a good run with Bootleg CD, and after that, we just continued to make music. And I remember talking to the artist. I remember talking to the artist that year when we were making music, and they said, "So you don't go promote this, man?" They said, "Well, you don't go to the press and get some interviews." I said, "Nah, listen to me, right? Let me make the music first. Once we take care of the music, the press can come, right?" So said, so done. When we released this song and the song start to do well, people started calling for interviews and that kind of stuff. I said, "You see, no, I'm just gonna listen to me a little bit, and things will fall into place." And Mikey was a fantastic listener and learner, and he did all the things, everything that I suggested he do, he did, and he was successful that year.
Let's go back to where it all started, social commentary. And it's
Mm,
something that you still hold very dear to your heart because you still
hmm
enter the competition.
Yes, yes.
Let's let's talk about the song "Owes You Nothing."
Calypso owes you nothing. Oh yeah. One of the songs that when you do it, you wish you had written it yourself. That's the truth. I started out writing for myself. I mean, I got to the finals, my first final, by writing Mistakes back in 1985. And the second song was Speak My Mind, which was written by Matt Fingal, actually. But so the social commentary I really loved because that was basically what it was. When you started, um, yes, you had party songs, but in a lot of instances, people were partying to what you were singing about socially or otherwise. Once you had a good beat and a good topic, and people were interested, it didn't matter. So it didn't have to be about whining or dancing or a party. Once the rhythm was good and the lyrics meant something to the people, they party to the song. Anyhow, so coming through the years, um, I got in the finals. Then I took a break because I was traveling a lot. Bam, bam, bam. In 2006, I'm getting to Calypso Audio Nothing, so hold on. Right? In 2006, Smokey Burt gave me a song called Crop Over Coming, I Can't Wait. Immediately, I thought that this song would make it to the finals, and I called Red Plastic By. I said, I need another song. And Plastic By gave me a song called Interdependence. I came fourth in the competition that year. Well, after coming fourth, Sir Don had written Calypso Owes You Nothing. And someone suggested to him, you know what? The body to give that song to is Mr. Blood, right? So he contacted me and he came to my house. At that time, I didn't even have any furniture in the house. So I gave him the one chair that I had. I sat on the ground and we put the recorder on a beer case or something that I had there. Anyhow, he gave me the song and I really loved it. I really loved what it was saying, and it was facts to me. And one of the things I really love to do about when it comes to social commentary is to deal with facts, deal with factual issues, and to also offer, if anything, to offer solutions to problems. There are so many commentaries out there that the people just list what is going on. They just put items that are in the newspaper in the song, and that's it. If I'm doing a song, I like to have a case where I am dealing, or although I may be dealing with issue or issues, I can offer some kind of advice to help with the issue. Anyhow, with Calypso Owes You Nothing, the first song that Sedon wrote for me, that year we had an in-house competition in the tank. Where is it that year? I don't want to tell lies. It wasn't. No, it wasn't that year. It was another year when I wrote another song. But that year, that song did so well. I remember singing it one night in the tent, and Romeo was visiting the tent. Romeo was in the tent, and he was sitting in the crowd. And at the end of my performance, Romeo shouted, "Well, my money dead now. I could go home," right? So it was. I mean, the rendition was so good. But I don't even want to call it challenging because I think now it would be challenging for me. But almost every week, Saddam brought a new verse for me to sing, a new last verse. He would keep the first two verses, and every week he would tweak the last verse and bring something different. So much so up to the finals, semi-finals, new verse, finals, new verse. But when you had younger, you just remember things easy. But you can't do that to me now. I forget everything, boy. But Calypso Owes You Nothing. I did be after I came second by 0.25 of a point that year in the Pickett Cup finals.
Wow.
And oh yes, it was really 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 close. In fact, I remember Red Plastic by walking over to me before the results, and he was kind of congratulating me and telling me to be strong and that kind of stuff when the result thing, because I think he anticipated that I was actually going to win as well. And when I went to New York as usual that year, I did that song in a show called Calypso 10. And Crazy, Duke, singing Sandra, all the big names was on their show. And it was amazing to see that at the end of the song, because when they heard the lyrics of the song, people just started walking out from backstage, from the dressing room to the side of the stage to see who was singing and that kind of stuff. Man, they gave me so much praise and accolades for that song. It was amazing because despite the different cultures or where we come from, almost everywhere in the Caribbean, we all go through some of the same challenges as Calypsonians, and we have some of the same issues.
Let's take a listen. Calypso owes you nothing.
With preconceived ideas, you throw yourself in the lane. You hear that Calypso, it have money, so you went and sing. You get one or two on call, and just so you claim you know that you have to become Calypso next queen or king. But the judges had a different view when they finished score, which made no provision for you in the top four. So you ups and beside you finish, but that is a heap of rubbish. I wonder why you feel it is you that Calypso. Calypso, you nothing, not even applause, no kind of standing ovation, least of all encore. Is you stand up there behind the microphone and publicly declare on your own that you are now a Calypsonian without any professional tuition or advice from anyone. So I want to let you know, if anybody or anybody is you indebted to Calypso.
You are indebted to Calypso.
Yeah, man. Yes,
Some
man.
serious lyrics there in this song.
Serious thing. And that one, and when you sing a song
If
like
you're
that,
now
it can
joining
only
us,
come from the heart.
yeah, go ahead.
I say when you do a song like that, it can only come from the heart, man. Yeah.
If you're now joining us, welcome to Conversations with the Artist. This week, Bridgetown, Barbados, the man, Mr. Anderson Armstrong, also known as Blood. He had Mr. Blood, Young Blood, all kind of blood. Was there any pink blood? I mean,
No. Young Blood, Mr. Blood, the brigade boss, king of the stage, all them things. Yeah.
many names, one guy, one fantastic guy. Let's get back to some of the party music, bandanas. I remember the song because, was it East Coast? I'm trying to remember if it was East Coast.
Yes, East Coast, Bandanas, East Coast, 2001.
There you go.
This got an interesting story as well.
Talk to me.
Oh yeah, well, I got the whole hook at the beginning of the song. We had gone to, I think it is St. Vincent. We went to St. Vincent, and we were doing the road, and I believe we saw a band in front of us, and it wasn't a recording, but the guy was doing this whole telling the people how to jump up thing. I said, okay, cool. So he said, you know what? I'm going to use that in a song. So I that's what I did. I wrote this song. The song is basically about Caribbean unity and how music brings us together and that kind of stuff, right? So I did. When I tell you to jump up, jump. I used that, and the song. When I released the song, they were I ain't gonna call the name, but I know there's one or two DJs who were friends of mine who said, "Man, this song is beer jump, right?" So no problem. But the song kept being the popularity of the song kept growing simply because one, square one, and that's one of the things and the advantages of being in a band that is playing almost every night or every weekend, during the season. The band gets to play the song, people got to hear it, And then the band not only plays the song, but they perform the song, so we get to understand what is supposed to happen when the song is being played. So as the crop over was going on, the song kept getting a little bit more popular, a little bit more popular. And for the, as luck would have it, I would say, we were preparing for the party mother at East Coast. And as usual, we had done some traveling. So I was a little hoarse if the show was on the Sunday, right? Because you know it usually is on the Sunday. But as luck would have it, and this is when you know the stars really align, the rain washed out play. There was no Party Monarch on the Sunday, but the Wednesday was a holiday. So by the Wednesday, the song had gained even more momentum and my voice had recovered, right? So, when I tell you everything fell into place, sponsorship for the bandanas by Virgin Atlantic, came through. So I had thousands of bandanas that I could send, like I could hand out to the people.
Wow.
The crane was the crane so that they could hand them out to go above the crowd. That got sponsored. Everything was taken care of for bandanas, and all I had to do was to go and sing and focus, and that was it. And once you can focus on your performance on any competition day, and all you have to do is just focus on your performance and nothing else, and you got a winning song, hands down, you're gonna win. You understand? So, and that's what happened with bandanas. I thought it was always a winning song. It did it. Then I think it then came second in the road march that year as well. All right, that's right. And then it came second or third because it was a toss up between myself and Oshaka with Wine Back. And,
Going back. Yeah, that
yes,
was another big song too.
that is correct. That is correct. So, yeah, and the Wednesday came and everything fell into place, and I won the Party Monarch that year, 2001, with bandanas.
How did that
That
make
was
you
a
feel?
Oh, hey man, winning a competition, and winning a competition like that makes you feel extremely good. And it was, and of course, like I said back then, those were the days when once you won a major title, the promoters from all over the world, they were coming at you. They were coming. You got work for another year at least, or a year and a half, or two sometimes, depending on the popularity of the song now outside of what you can do with the song outside of Barbados as well.
His winning Party Monarch song, Bandanas. Let's take a listen.
This one is for my people. Who that? Me, man. When I tell you to jump up, jump up, jump up. When I tell you to jump up, jump up now. Yeah. When I tell you to jump up, jump up, jump up. When I tell you to jump up now. Here we go. Jump, 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 jump. Higher, higher. Jump, 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 jump. Start to wave. Red bandana, white bandana, blue bandana, green bandana, yellow bandana, black bandana, jump bandana, jump, jump. Red, white, blue, green, yellow, black, jump, jump, jump up. No matter where you're from, it's time to carry on. So bring your flag and come, bandana jump up. West Indian all over, time to come together. Show the world we power, bandana jump. Red bandana, white bandana, blue bandana, green bandana, yellow bandana, black jump, jump, jump. Red bandana, white bandana, blue bandana.
We took Party Monarch by storm with this one. How does it feel? I mean, 2001, 2021, and it's still a powerful song.
Powerful, yeah. You can't. That's it. When you have a magical song, it doesn't matter when it's released. It's always going to be magical when somebody hears it down the line, and that's the truth. The magic is always going to be in that music. The vibe, the energy is always going to be there. And no matter how long ago you did it, when you do it today, that just take me back with me, yeah.
Now, this next song is also going to take the breath out of you. Hand in the Air.
Oh yes.
Another powerful song.
That's right. That song, oh man, that song would have been 2 years after Bandanas, actually, because next year I did a song called Bounce, and
Right.
I defended with that, and then Hannah the Year came the next year, and what I had, my intention by the time I did Hannah the Year was to basically copy. I was copying the style of Iowa George, because Iowa George was the hype man, in the party. Whenever he came, it was you got to put your hand in the air, you got to jump, you got to do something. And I said, you know what? Let me see if I can produce a string of songs with that kind of energy. So by the third year now with hand in the air, this is where I was going with that. I was going with that, let me get these people to really, really move in the party, hand in the air, and still deliver kind of some positive messages in between.
I was just going to talk to you about that. Positivity always in the music of Square
Yes.
One and Blood.
Yes, yes, definitely. That was is my intention, because my thing about the music is, even if I dealt with social issues, let it be a case where by the end of it, you're smiling. I always call my music happy music. It has to make people want to dance. It has to make you want to move. It got to make you take you from that place of stress to a place of, enlightenment and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, even if you dealt with the issues, do it in a way that at the end of it, the person can either laugh at it themselves, or just feel a little bit more relaxed at the end of the day.
And it really goes with your personality because anytime you see Blood is always this happy-go-lucky fella.
It's true.
I've never seen you upset or in a
You don't
corner
want to see that. You
looking.
don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. That's a good thing. That is
That's a good
not a
thing.
good thing to see.
Let's take a listen to a hiding here coming on from Mr. Blood.
Excuse me, but I've got something very important to say. Hand in the air, 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 hand in the air. What? Again? Hand in the air, 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 hand in the air. Why? Don't tell me what to sing. Don't tell me what to do. You say stop instructing, and you're tired, jump up too. Hey, you're tired with the wave. Prance up and misbehave. But I am telling you flat tonight, we burning fat. Hear me when I say to hell with that. All I wanna see is hand in the air, 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 hand in the air. What? Again, hand in the air, 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 hand in the air. Hey.
Wow. Energy,
Yeah,
energy.
yeah.
You can still sing this song though?
Of course. How you mean it? How you mean it? Did you miss the last show I did? Did you miss it? Did you? Ah,
As we continue, you're not only known for social commentary, you also have a crown in the social commentary space.
yes,
You have
yes.
Party Monarch as well. But you're also known for Sweet Soca.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The song I Can't Wait
Wait.
was one of those songs that when you sing it, you just get it just draws you in. Share with
Yeah,
us
man.
this rating on this one.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you who wrote that. When that song came to me, I didn't write it. That song came to me. Um, with it was about two other songs. Sanctuary Vibes brought the song. Friend of his, say, you know what, this guy is writing good. I'm gonna introduce you to him. And he came to my studio and he started to sing. So he sang a song called Private Property that I did the same year as I Can't Wait. And so we did that, and we recorded I Can't Wait by Chris Allman. And immediately, I mean, before the recording, from the time I got the song, I actually probably one of the first songs that I learned before I went into the studio. Um, from the time I heard it, I knew that this song was a winner. You know, you get that feeling this song was a winner. And I went by Nicholas, not Nicholas, by Chris Allman, sorry. And we put the song down. And I will never forget, I think Mikey came to the studio, and Mikey immediately, you know, recognized that this song was going to give problems. And so throughout the whole of that year, I mean, the whole campaign and push and the investment that I put into, I would say, myself because of that song. I mean, I rented a bus, and I had the bus painted with King of the Stage, Mr. Blood, and this bus would transport me because of,
Wow.
you know, the imagery that you had to portray, that I was portraying. I was like, I am already a winner with this song. And I think everything worked from for the time I performed the song in the semifinals. I'm going to show you now how I knew from then, because there was a particular note in the song that in the studio recording the song I did not get hit. Not that I could not hit, because when I sang that song in the semifinals, the adrenaline and everything, that note came so easy. It was amazing, and I knew, okay, all I had to do was be in good voice for the finals, and I'd be able to sing this song perfectly. And we put everything in place, all the wow factors, you know, as far as the presentation was concerned. Brought in Mighty Gabby, we brought in Arthur tapping, and that was it. It was a phenomenal year for myself and for Soca Cartel as well, because I won the party, the Sweet Soca Monarch. I won the Sweet Soca Monarch with that song, and then we won the party Monarch with Roll It. There was there's two trick. Oh yes, and then we won the Road March with Roll It as well. So I was a triple Monarch that year, as well as Mikey being a triple Monarch that year as well, because he won Road March, Party Monarch, and People's Monarch as well that year. So it was extremely good. It was an extremely good year for myself, as well as Soca Cartel, who I was with at the time.
Let's take a listen.
Put your flag in the air. Hey, crop over it. Walking carnivalist. Start the jumping, crop over it. Waving carnivalist. Start the whining, crop over it. Walking carnivalist. Start the jumping, crop over it. Waving carnivalist. Start the whining, crop over it. Class, come join in the mass. Crop over it. Walking up. Walking carnivalist. Class, come join in the mass. Carnivalist. Jumping up. Jumping. Here we go. Well, it's walk all day and it's walk all night and go wine on anything, enjoying the carnival. Riding hard and go give a damn and go play mass all day. Jump up, I wanna wine and wave up all throughout the carnival. We gon' make this a spectacle. Yeah, whenever song I play, I get the vibe that takes me away. Mass every day, mass every day, mass every day. I can't wait for carnival to come again. I can't wait for carnival to come again.
What a sweet song.
Yeah,
Really such a sweet song.
tune. I'm telling you. Oh
Time is
man.
getting away from us, and we still got a few songs to
Yeah.
go. Let's jump into I Remember.
Woo, yeah, that was the last. But I shouldn't do the last song I wrote. I wrote that song last year, 2020, and it was a case of not even because of COVID, but with the hopes that, you know, when the crop over start, because this song I recorded it before the whole everything started to go haywire. That when crop over start, that some of those memories that we usually have when we party or we meet someone special for crop over, some of those things, you know, you'll be able to jar those feelings in people. And and obviously when the music plays and the party starts, when they hear that song, that would be the kind of, the feelings and the emotions that they would get. But obviously COVID hit, we had no crop over, but the song still works well because, I mean, it's not having a crop over and not having the events, all you can do really and truly is remember,
Remember. Yeah.
remember the times that you'll have had before. So yeah, it's a song I hold really dear to my heart. The production was done by Barry Hill from Dreadhawks Production. He sent me the music, and I wrote the lyrics, and yeah, I remember.
Let's take a listen.
Oh, yeah. I remember memories of a time holding you so close to me. In my ear, you whisper to do it again, baby. Baby, there was a time when you and I were inseparable, inseparable. But it wasn't so long ago, yeah, that you were telling me so. Baby girl, I want you to know it's too hard for me to let go. When you left, I wasn't the same, but no problem, but come again. I'll be waiting, girl, I'll be waiting. I remember our favorite song. I remember dancing all night long. I remember just you and me. I remember.
It really fits in well because all we can do right now is remember.
Remember. That's correct.
What it was
That's
like to be on the
that's
outside,
right.
hugging one another, partying with each other, just
Partying.
having a good time.
I'm
We took
telling
those
you.
things for granted.
We took them for granted. That's right. So right now, all you can do is remember. Yeah, man. It's true. It's true. It's true. Don't take life for granted, though. Enjoy each moment, man. Live it. Yeah, like a roller coaster ride.
Quickly share with us what is it like during this COVID period? What is it like? What has it been like for you and your family?
When it first started, obviously, all work ceased, but because I had already started preparing for a season, I continued making sure that one, the music was out. So um, I put the album out. I put an album out. I continued to make music. The people that were around me, we had stuff already prepared to release for 2020. So a lot of activity was still around us before we actually had to shut right down. And but when we did shut down, we had product and to work with. We had goals that we set and things that we said we would do. So we continued doing those things and try to keep one a level head. I mean, I went into to another area where I started producing my own lyric videos, right? Because obviously, if you're not making money, it makes no sense to put money into videos and lyric videos and that kind of stuff. So I paid for a program. I learned the program. I did my own lyric videos. So I had a little bit of education during that time as well. Then well with the family, not going out and not being out as often as I was before, obviously, brought things a little bit closer to home, obviously. Then something phenomenal happened to me near the end of the year where I got a call, to play the music now. The music, all that music that would have been produced all over the years, not only by myself but by other people. I got an opportunity to be on radio and to be a radio announcer. And I mean, for many years, I've been going to the radio station, and I've been doing my own shows and that kind of stuff. And sometimes, little things have been dropped to me, saying, "Man, you ever been interested in being an announcer?" And that, and those are the kind of questions I would have been asking, that kind of stuff, over several years and whatnot. And I never really put any real thought into doing it. What I was doing for a couple of years, probably about 3-4 years now, is producing a 1 hour radio show. where it featured, 100% Bajan music. So now I am actually radio announcing on one of the, leading radio stations in Barbados and playing, the music, 100% Bajan music as well. So it all fell into place, and I'm happy with that. Being able to at least doing that, keep my head above the water as well too. Huh.
Fantastic. We're at the end of the show. Let's take in the final song, Mr. Blood. You touched on it a bit earlier, but we still need to discuss this song because this became, you had the band Soca Cartel, and you guys were doing really well. And this year, that year you came out with a song, Roll It, that took not only the airwaves by storm, but every fete, every party, wherever you turn, you heard Roll It. Share with us.
Yes. Well, that year, Mikey said, "Man, I got this rhythm, and I want to write a song to it. I can bring it up the road." So when he came, it wasn't Roll It; it was another song. So Mikey brought the song. We recorded his song. Then he said, "I want you to hear this here." So when he played the rhythm, I said, interesting. He said, "You got anything?" And I sat down and I immediately did this. And the thing that came to me was head, shoulders, knees, and toes, right? So I did that and I started to sing. And I was almost about to scrap it when my God, for 9 hours that you just do, boy. So I started to sing, and from there the song was born. We had the chorus there. Then he sat down and I wrote my verse. He wrote his part of his verse, and that's how it is. And I would say in about, if it took an hour, I don't feel it is an hour. I feel it's about 20 to 30 minutes. In about 20 to 30 minutes, we had the song written and recorded on the rhythm, because the rhythm was there, right? And I fixed all the vocals and we sent it to you guys to mix. And I already had a rough mix from what we had done in studio. And Mikey sent the song to mix. And when we got the mix back, I don't think we were happy with the energy of the mix. It didn't carry the same raw energy as the original demo instrumental. So we took the vocals and we put it to the demo instrumentals, mastered it, and Roll It is history. That is correct. Simple. So, in fact, what I did that same day, there's a guy out by me. He's a Rasta, I call him Rasta man, right? But the Rasta man, he could tell he does hear a hit. He ain't a singer, he can't do nothing so. But if he catch that vibe, you know that you're on the right road. I called him and he freaked out about the song at the same time. Say, yeah, all right, we working with something. And I can always tell when I got a song that is potentially going to be a hit. I am excited. I just can't wait to perform it with or without, music. And I went to a school fair I went to perform at. And I decided, let me try this out here without music. I just tried it out and it worked. And I said, yeah, I think we got something happening. And there you go. Roll it.
Mr. Blood, thank you so much for spending this time with us and sharing your story and your journey. It really was an honor to have you on Conversations with the Artists.
It was a pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much.
And on that note, this is where we say goodbye. And we will leave you with the final song, Roll It, coming out from Soca Cartel, of course, featuring Mr. Blood. Until next time, be good and be safe. That has been Conversations with the Artists.
Sound the horn! Put your hand in the air! Come on! Put your hand in the air! Fire! Fire! I told you! Soca Cartel! To the world! Here we go! Hands up and roll that party! Hands up and roll that party! Hands up and roll that party! Come let me see ya! Hands up and roll that party! Let's go! Hands on your head and roll it! Hands on your waist and roll it! Hands on your knees and roll it! Hold your ankles and roll it! Hands on your head and roll it! just make me lose my mind. Jump and wave in a costume and shaking the spine.
So this one here for the ladies, this one here for the girl, this one here for the women who just wind up and get on bar. This is the time to roll it, this is the time to wine. I want the sexy lady.